Welcome to the Team Battle Leadership Institute. My name is Tony Roberts. I'm the Chief Transformation Officer. I want to talk to you in this session about your emotions and how for most leaders, they're really your enemy more than your friends. Okay, so let me ask you this. Have you ever said something to somebody, and as soon as you said it, you saw this look come across their face, and you knew in that look, it wasn't good. You would either hurt their feelings, upset them, made them unhappy, but either way, the rest of the conversation didn't go so well, or you didn't get the results you wanted. Now, I'm sure you answered that yes, and it's happened many, many times in your life, and it doesn't just apply at work. You do this other places. But what you find is you have to understand how to use your emotions and use and interact with the people that you're leading's positive emotions in order to be a high-performance leader. Now, so a high-performance leader is able to use their emotions to their advantage, not like most leaders, a disadvantage. Most leaders, and here's where it's a disadvantage, have you ever seen leaders that yell at people, belittle them, get sarcastic, get curt? Have you ever seen a leader, I've seen leaders that will walk up and ask you a question because they think they're supposed to act like they care, but then they won't even stand there and listen to the answer. When you start talking, they just sort of walk away, or they look at somebody else and say, hey, brief me on, and they just start talking to somebody else. So those kind of things, how do they make you feel when a leader yells, belittles, is sarcastic, talks down to, is condescending? How do you feel when leaders treat you that way? And I'm sure you're saying, well, not very good, and I don't like it. Well, join the club. None of us like it. Okay? So what you have to learn is those are your negative emotions doing that. Now, usually when that's done, the leader is feeling some kind of negativity. Maybe it's generated from work, maybe it's not, but it's being displayed in their communication. So there's two things. First of all, as a leader, you have to understand where your emotions come from. Now, if I ask you where your emotions come from, what would you say? Most people give me answers like, well, they come from inside. They come from the heart. They come from my brain, you know. Some people tell me, well, I don't know, okay? Well, here's the answer. Your emotions come from your beliefs, the way you see the world. Now, we're all a product of where we're born, when we're born, and the culture we grow up in. Culture is not national, it's not racial, it's not regional. Culture is this house will have a different culture than the next door neighbor. So you can probably remember when you were a kid, you went into your next door neighbor's house, you know, little Johnny was your friend, and you looked at little Johnny's family and you said, these people are crazy in here, right? Little Johnny felt the same thing about your family. That's just culture. We're a product of where we're born, when we're born, and the culture we grow up in. Now, with that said, based on the beliefs that we're programmed with in our environment by our parents, teachers, preachers, things like that, that's where our emotions get built, because we look at things and we say, based on my beliefs, that is wrong. It shouldn't be said. It shouldn't be done. It should have been this way, and I'm going to get angry about it. And you do choose to get angry. That doesn't make you automatically. That's something you choose to do. All right, with that said, your emotions being based on your beliefs, number one, when you understand that, that gives you power to control your emotions. But there's a second piece. To really be able to control your emotions, you have to learn to focus on the goals, your goals and the goals you're pursuing for others, namely your organization. When you always think goals, before you open your mouth and you're sarcastic, you think, is this in my best interest to say this? Is this the best thing to get the results I'm after? And before you are condescending or sarcastic or yell, you realize, well, that's not going to help me get what I want. I'm going to end up doing myself or not getting it done. So, by that focus on the goals and understanding that because it does come from your beliefs, you do have the ability to change it, you can change the way you interact with people to a positive set, a positive format. So just for instance, if a person says, well, I think that's stupid, I shouldn't have to do that. Now, a lot of leaders would want to say, well, I don't give a crap what you think, do it anyway, okay? Or something to that effect. And of course, what's going to happen now is you're going to have conflict. Even if the person does it, they're going to go tell everybody else they can find how you pissed them off, how you're a jerk, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So to avoid that, when the person says, well, I think it's stupid, I shouldn't have to do it. A positive leader, a high-performance leader, A leader who has that professional dynamic guide standard would say, so what about this task is stupid, do you find? And let the person tell them, okay, so we need to get this result, so what else is going to get there? Give me something else. If this doesn't work for you, give me something else. And of course the person's going to say, either they'll come up with a great idea, which is great, and we can use it, or more than likely what they're going to do is say, well, I don't know another way. So then in order to get the result, it needs to be done, right? Okay. Now, as for you not wanting to do it, I understand you don't want to do it. I understand there's things I do all the time, every day, that I don't want to do. Having this conversation is one of them, as a matter of fact. However, these are things I have to do my job well. Now, isn't this within your purview? Isn't this something that you were hired to do and you're paid to do? And of course, the person's going to have to say yes, because you'll be able to show them the job description and say, it's right here. We already talked about this, right? And so when the person says yes, well, so are you telling me that you're leaving the organization? Well, no, that's not what I said. Well, I understand when you tell me that you don't want to do it. What are you telling me? Because you got to understand the things we're paying you to do at this organization, they're not optional. They're what's required to work here. So help me understand, are you telling me you will do these things, and a minute ago you were just acting out of anger, or you won't do these things, and we had to have that conversation? What are you telling me? And so you focus them back on the goals. And of course, most people at that point in the conversation, what are they going to say? Well, no, I'll do it. I was just having a moment. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Then I'm going to say, and do a favor for me. You know, remember how we talked when you first started working with me, and I said, let's make a deal. I'll always treat you with dignity, respect, and honesty, and I'll always give you that, and I want the same from you. Do you remember that conversation? And the employee is going to have to say, well, yes, Tony, I do. Well, telling me something stupid and you don't want to do it, is that a positive way to talk about it? I mean, are you showing me dignity, respect, and honesty when I'm giving you a direction and you tell me it's stupid? Is that sort of maybe a personal attack? Even if you didn't mean it that way, is that how it comes across, you think? And the person's probably going to say, well, that's not how I meant it. Well, I understand. Well, let's do this. In the future, let's not call things stupid or whatever adjective you want to use. If you have a challenge with something, you don't like it, let's talk about that. Let's not assign titles for it. Let's just say, Tony, wouldn't it be better if we did this? Or Tony, couldn't we do this? Or Tony, can we do that? In other words, give me options. Don't just insult the things I bring to you. Is that fair enough? And you'll find if you learn to use that high-performance leadership language and focus them back on the goals, use their positive emotions, get rid of their negative emotions, you'll be amazed how effective you can be in the organization and with the people that you're leading. But you got to understand that most negative emotions are brought by the leader, because most leaders will just say, look, you got to do this. Okay? Do we need to go to HR? This is something you have to do. This is part of your job. And when you start treating people like that, all that creates is resistance. When you learn the belief systems, which this chart right here shows belief systems and communication styles, but when you learn those and you learn how to recognize those, you get extremely powerful in learning how to say things so it feels good to them and they want to hear the message and they want to deliver on what you've asked because of the way you're communicating with them. So you want to learn how to do that so you can remove the emotion, the negative emotions, and only use your positive emotions, because you know you can change them, you know where they come from, your beliefs, and you also are always focused on the goal, so you don't open mouth, insert foot. You control what comes out of your mouth, what it comes out, the way it comes out, what it's focused on. You're in total control of that. And when you do that, you can create these environments with people, in work environments, what we call at the Team Builder Leadership Institute a community dynamics environment, meaning basically the way you guys interact with each other at the workplace is you're open and you're honest, and really it's like going to work with a bunch of your best friends, because everybody supports everybody else. There's no negativity, there's no drama. Everybody's there focused on what they're there to do. People help other people automatically. You don't have to go looking for help or begging for help. Everybody in the organization looks at everything we do here as our mission, not just Tony's job description and Tanya's job description and Billy's job description. No, we are all a team. We have team level and bigger, but we're all part of the larger team, and we all contribute to that. We know what we do, and we're happy to do it. That's that community dynamic. That's what we build at the Team Builder Leadership Institute. And a huge part of that is what's called our Dynamic Guide Professional Leadership Standard. Because when you teach a leader these high performance leadership, the language and the behaviors we're talking about, how to keep those negative emotions out. As a matter of fact, take away the employees' negative emotions. That leadership and that foundation, when all the leaders know this, becomes so powerful. Imagine an organization where there's no negativity used, where everybody comes to work. When they get to the front door, they leave I outside, they step inside, it becomes us and what we're here to do. They're positive, they're focused, and they like who they're with and what they're doing with them. What would that organization perform like? Well, that is what community dynamics is. The way they interact, that's what we teach at the Team Builder Leadership Institute. One of our greatest tools is that Dynamic Guide Professional Leadership Standard, which is, we actually have a certification which we call the Professional Full Spectrum Leadership Certification. Now, the reason we call that a full spectrum is because it does teach you the leadership languages. It teaches you belief systems. It teaches you communication styles, organization, positivity, how to be assertive, all of these things. It is leading. You know, I had a person one time ask me, I was doing a seminar, I want to say Dallas or somewhere in Texas, anyway, and I had a young woman ask me, she'd just come into leadership, she hadn't been into it long, and she said, Tony, do I have to be a psychologist to be a great leader? And I said, no. But you do have to understand people and how they function. And that's what professional leadership is understanding enough about people and adding enough skills to where you know when and how to interact to get the results we need to get to the goals we're after. You create positive action instead of negative resistance. So, as a leader, you have the power to remove negativity. First, you don't bring yours, and then you add the skills to remove theirs. If you need help, that's what we do at the Team Builder Leadership Institute. Contact us. You can contact us through the website or give us a call. But we would be happy to help you with your community dynamics or build your ecosystem or add the skills you need to be that high-performance leader. We even have the online programs, which is the Professional Full Spectrum Leadership Certification that teaches that Dynamic Guide Professional Leadership Standard. So if you need help, contact us. We'd be happy to help. Remove the negativity from your organization by adding the skills and watch your community develop. So visit us at Team Builder Leadership Institute. Thanks for listening. Thank you.